How's it going, everyone? So on the table in front of you we have 3 spark plugs. They are all supposedly BPR6ES plugs. Now, a couple things I want to go over about these plugs. That one's from NGK, that one's also from NGK, and this is a cheap plug that came in some type of kit. And I will never use this one because, well, it's a piece of crap. I went over to previous video and stuff you should never use, and that's one of them. There's a reason for that. If you don't know, then watch that video. Having said that, the other 2 are supposedly good. Now, I got a series of mowers from a person. It is January. I don't know when you're watching this, but in January, not a whole lot of grass is growing in the Pacific Northwest. So this is a time when a lot of people drop stuff off to get tuned up and maintained. Well, sometimes they provide me plugs. I actually got a 4-pack of these plugs, and I installed it. Now, this is where the video that you clicked on is going to really make sense. I installed one of these plugs, and next thing I know, it ran before I did that, but it wasn't running. I'm like, that's weird. So I went down the avenue of putting carb spray down to throw to the carb and all that, and nothing would work, which is odd. So I knew it wasn't a fuel issue, it was probably spark. So looked at the plug, and it wasn't sparking. Oh, that's weird. It's a brand new plug. Well, I know stuff is made on Mondays and Fridays all the time, so that's fine. So I went ahead and took out another one and put it in there, and this time it was running. However, there was black smoke chugging out of it hardcore, which, if you're unaware what black smoke means, it means that it's unburnt fuel, and it's just not a good thing. In addition to that, the motor is running really choppy. So took it out, put a new one in. I put a 3rd plug in, and it did exactly the same thing. So at this point in time, this is the 4th and final plug, and I just got tired of it. I took out the old plug, put it back in, and in fact, I even took it out for reference. That's what it looked like. I mean, yeah, it needs to be cleaned, or needs to be replaced probably. To be honest, it runs perfectly fine. It probably just needs a good cleaning, but put it back in, and it runs fine. No problems. Everything perfect. So at this point in time, I'm realizing these plugs are bad. So we know this is a pile of junk, so we're not going to pay attention to that. But let's look at this. Now, this comes in a package that looks very legit if you get a pack of 4. I'm not going to say it's not. The only thing I don't see is these should, and if I remember correctly, say made in Japan. It doesn't say that on there. And the box itself feels kind of flimsy. It kind of feels like bad, wet cardboard. Or it could just be that it was wet before, I don't know. But this is the plug. This is one I got from my local hardware store that I know is good because I buy from them almost exclusively, and I've never had a bad one. So, looking at the 2, I decided to take a look at the difference. Now, back up. I called the owner. I asked him, hey, where do you find these plugs? Did you get them from a store? He's like, oh no, I got off Amazon. Now, Amazon's good for lots of things. Don't get me wrong. Amazon trucks in from my house a lot. But there's counterfeits out there. And I think that's exactly what these are. Counterfeits. So, when looking at the good one, the color and the finish is definitely different. I don't know how well that's coming up on camera, but it's definitely different. They're both supposedly NGKR. The writing on the good one is actually a little darker, and it looks like the R on this one is kind of messed up. I don't know if you can really see that or not, but it's a little messed up. I interrupt what I was saying in the middle of this. I was going to take a multimeter out and check the resistance of all these. However, considering the fact that I know this is counterfeit, I don't know what it should be, and we could measure it to this one, yes, but to be honest, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work, whether or not the resistance is super off, which I'm sure it is. So I'm not going to even bother doing that. I'm just going to stick with my original idea of you shouldn't buy potential knockoff parts off Amazon. So continuing back to where I left off. In addition to that, this one is a lot lighter. Well, I mean, for a plug of something this size, it's definitely a weight difference. I thought these would say Japan on them. This one's not really. It just says NGK stamped into it, which I guess this one does too. I don't see Japan stamped in this one either, but on the package that I took the other one from, it does say made in Japan. So this is a good fake. It looks pretty legit. If you didn't have another one to look at, you probably wouldn't notice a difference. I mean, like I said, they are both BPR6ES, so they're technically the exact same plug. And yeah, this one, I'm sure if I put in a machine, wouldn't even run. Or if it did, it would run very poorly. This one, if I put in the same machine, I'm sure it'll run just fine. If you're going to be ordering spark plugs, do not, unless it's from a good online supplier, buy it from a place like Amazon. There's a lot of counterfeits out there, and the only thing it's going to do is cause problems. It cost me a good half an hour at least going through all this nonsense just because of a plug that was cheap. Like I said, called the owner, asked him where he got it. He said Amazon. The rest of the conversation went about this way. I asked, how much was it? And he said it was $8.99 for 4. Well, I don't know about you guys, but my plugs in my area, this one I paid $4.29 for. So if you're literally getting a plug for half off, granted, it is in a pack of 4, and usually sometimes those do give you a little bit of a discount because you are buying multiple, which I'm totally down with. No, not with original stuff like that. If it's a discount, it's going to be mild of a discount if at best. But 50% off, not happening. So be prepared, be aware, and be on the lookout for these. These are not good. I would never use them. In fact, I'm going to give them back to the owner and tell him I would highly recommend he send them back and get his $9 back, because they're literally worthless unless you're going to be using them to make those little piston characters you see on the internet. That's it. That is the extent of their use. So I'm going to go ahead and put them back in their boxes. In fact, let's just do that now, just to make sure that I don't get them mixed up. I'm going to put in the little cardboard piece that they were so graceful to include to make it look even more convincing. And yeah, you can go throw those in their little container and give them back. And we're going to be using this one and the 3 other ones I bought with it. So do not buy them online from any of these larger online retailers like that. You know what I mean. Reputable, or it is a spark plug. Go out, drive over to a store and just buy one. It's not that hard. They usually have lots of them. Just buy one. I'm going to go ahead and leave you at that. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, keep watching. Subscribe. Follow me. Excuse me. If this helped you out, leave a thumbs up. It definitely helps me out. And I'll catch you on the next video. You have a good night.